The bass thumped through the floor, rattling the glass in my hand. I had been leaning against the kitchen counter, nursing a drink, watching strangers dance like they had nothing to lose. Then I saw her. Claire stood across the room, framed by the crowd, her eyes locked on mine like the rest of the world had gone mute. She tilted her head slightly, lips curling into a smile that didn't belong to a friend. I pushed through the bodies, trying not to think about how her black dress clung to her in a way I had no business noticing. "You look like you hate being here," she said, stepping closer until I caught the faint scent of her perfume. "I don't hate it," I said. "Just wondering why you're staring at me from across the room instead of saying hi." I wasn't staring. Her smile deepened. Playful. "Maybe I was just making sure you saw me first." Mission accomplished. Her fingers brushed mine when she took my cup to taste my drink. "You always order something boring? Still the same whiskey and soda?" "It works," I said, watching her lips touch the rim. "Been busy all night, making rounds, playing hostess. But you're the one person I wanted to see." She leaned in, her voice lower now. "You never told me you were coming. You invited me." "Sure, but you never RSVP'd. You thought you might be hiding." "Just not great with crowds." "Then why are you standing in the middle of one?" "Because you're here." Her eyes flickered, and for a second she didn't have a comeback. Then she tilted her head toward the balcony. "Come with me. It's too loud outside." The air was sharp and cold. The muffled music pulsed through the glass behind us. She rested her elbows on the railing, the city lights catching in her hair. "Mark isn't here?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "He's out of town. Business trip." She gave me a quick glance. "Why? No reason. Just thought he might be here with you." Her lips curved again, but this time it felt sharper. "Would you be talking to me like this if he was?" "Like what?" She stepped closer. "Like you want to say something, but you're afraid to." "That's not what's happening." "It is," she said softly. "You think I don't notice when you look at me a certain way? That's not fair." Her hand landed lightly on my arm. "It's true, though. You've never said it, but I feel it." I swallowed, fighting the instinct to step back. "We're friends, Claire." "We've been friends for 3 years," she said. "And maybe that's the problem." The door opened and a burst of laughter spilled out. She moved an inch closer, enough for my back to brush the railing. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Talking to my friend," she said, voice warm in a way that didn't match the words. "You're not just talking." Her gaze dropped to my mouth, then back to my eyes. "You think I don't know how much control I have over you? Shouldn't say things like that." "Why? Because I have a boyfriend? So you're too careful to let anything happen?" "Ah, yes." "Both." She laughed quietly, not amused. "You think I don't wonder what it would be like? You think I don't imagine it when I'm with him?" "Stop." My voice was low, rougher than I meant. Her fingers trailed down my sleeve before she stepped back, letting the cold air rush between us again. "You don't want me to stop." "I do. No. You want me to cross the line for you, so you can tell yourself it wasn't your fault." "That's not what I want," she smirked. "And why are you still out here with me instead of going back inside?" The crowd inside erupted in cheers. Someone shouted about the countdown starting soon, because I'm not walking away from you until I understand what you're doing, I said. "I'm reminding you that we're more than just friends." "That's not true." "It is to me." I took a breath, steady but heavy. "What happens when Mark finds out you've been saying this to me?" "That depends," she said. "Do you plan on telling him? Do you plan on giving me a reason?" 2. Her smile shifted into something I couldn't read. "Maybe I'm just trying to see if you'll finally admit you've thought about it too." The noise inside got louder, voices counting down from 30. Claire leaned in so close, her hair brushed my jaw. "You can lie to me, Dan," she whispered, "but I know you." The numbers climbed higher. 2520-4. Her hand slid over mine, holding it in place on the railing. My pulse roared. In my ears. "You should go inside," I said. "I will." She tilted her head until her lips were inches from my ear. "But first I need to tell you something." 15. 14. "What?" She smiled against my cheek. "Find out in a few seconds." 10-9. Her fingers tightened around mine. My chest felt like it might split open. 5-4? She leaned in, her breath warm on my ear, lips about to move. 3-2. The room exploded in cheers as the clock struck 12. Asterisk I kept replaying last night in my head. The way Claire's lips were about to move before the countdown stole the moment. When I walked into the cafe, she was already in the booth, stirring her coffee like she was waiting for me to start something. "You're late," she said. 5 minutes, I replied, sliding into the seat. "You look like you've been up for hours." "I have. Of us don't sleep till noon." I was up early, just didn't feel like rushing. She studied me for a second. "You've got that face again." "What face?" "The one where you're overthinking something you'll never admit?" "I'm not overthinking, you are, and it's about last night." I leaned back. "You're the one who wanted to tell me something. Maybe I forgot what it was." "You didn't." Psst. She smiled faintly, eyes not leaving mine. "Assume I was going to confess something scandalous. Wasn't I supposed to?" "Depends on what you think of me." "I think you like testing boundaries." Her laughter was quiet, almost to herself. "You make it sound like a crime." "Depends on whose boundaries you're testing." She leaned forward, elbows on the table. "You're my best friend, Dan. That's all this is." "That's all?" "Yes, I'm not allowed to tease my best friend." "Tease, yes. Blur the lines, no." She tilted her head. "What if the lines don't matter?" "They do when you have a boyfriend." Her expression didn't change, but something in her eyes did. "Mark and I are fine." "I wasn't asking, you were implying. I was stating a fact. You've been with him almost a year, and you've known me for 3. Which is why I know when you're acting different." She reached for the sugar, her fingers brushing mine and lingering longer than they should have. "You're imagining it." "I'm not." She took a slow sip of coffee, watching me over the rim. "You always do this? Turn something harmless into something loaded." "Ah!" "I'm not the one sitting too close." Her knee pressed into mine. "Under the table? Is this too close?" "Yes." "Then move." Stayed where I was. "You're making a point. Maybe I just like sitting here. Or maybe you want me to think about it later." Her smile widened. "Will you?" "I'm not answering that." "You already did." A waitress came by, setting down our food. The silence between us was thick enough to feel. She cut in too. "Her pancake. You should stop looking at me like that." "How am I looking at you? Like you want to say something you shouldn't. You keep assuming I'm the one with the problem. Aren't you?" I picked up my fork.
"Last night."
"You were the one leaning in, because I wanted to tell you something."
"What?"
"And you still haven't." She gave a little shrug. Maybe the moment passed. Maybe you decided not to cross that line. "Would it be so bad if I did?" "Yes." She set her fork down. "You're acting like I'm not allowed to wonder." "Wonder all you want. Acting on it is different." Her voice lowered. "You think I haven't thought about it? You think I don't notice the way you look away sometimes? Like you're afraid I'll catch you?" "I look away because I respect you, or because you're scared." I shook my head. "You're with Mark. I'm not doing this. You are doing this right now." The way she said it made my chest tighten. I'm trying to stop it. She reached for her coffee again, fingers brushing mine for the second time. "You're not very good at stopping things you want." "I didn't say I wanted it. You didn't have to." I pushed my plate away, appetite gone. "This isn't a game." She studied me, her tone softer now. "Then why does it feel like one? Because you're treating it like one?" She didn't answer right away. "Mark trusts you, I know. You're not going to tell him." "No, but you need to decide what you're doing." She tapped her nails lightly against the table. "I'm having brunch with my best friend. That's all anyone would see. It's not all I see." She leaned in again, her voice just above a whisper. "Then stop looking so closely." I was about to respond when the bell over the cafe door rang. I didn't look up right away, but her eyes shifted past me. Her smile froze. I turned in my seat. Mark stood in the doorway, scanning the room before spotting us. His gaze moved from our faces to the space between us that barely existed. I forced, my voice steady. "Mark." Claire's hand slid off mine under the table. "Hey," she said, too quickly. Mark started walking toward us, his expression unreadable. Mark's eyes lingered on us for a beat too long. before his mouth curved into a smile that didn't reach them. "Didn't know you two were here?" said, "Just grabbing brunch?" Claire answered quickly. "Yeah," I added, forcing a casual tone. "Haven't seen each other much lately." Mark nodded, but something in his jaw tightened. "Enjoy it." He glanced at Claire, then at me. "See you around?" The moment he left, she exhaled like she had been holding her breath. "You think he noticed?" she asked. "Yes." Her gaze dropped to her coffee. "Didn't say anything. Not now. Doesn't mean he won't later. Stop making it sound like we're guilty. We are acting guilty." She shook her head. "Friends, that's it." I didn't answer. That night my phone buzzed with her name. "Can we talk?" Alone, I stared at the screen for a moment before replying. "Where the pier?" The wind cut through my jacket as I walked down the wooden planks, the boards creaking under my steps. Claire stood near the edge, hands shoved deep into her coat pockets, staring at the black water. "You're late," she said without turning. "You've picked the coldest place in the city." "Needed somewhere quiet?" I stepped beside her. "What's going on?" She hesitated, eyes still on the water. "I'm confused, Anne." "About what?" "Everything." She turned toward me, her voice low. "It's Mark, what I want." "You've been with him for a year?" "I know. And you've known me longer than that." She took a shaky breath. "That's the problem. You've always been here. And lately I can't stop thinking about how different it feels. That's not fair to him." "I'm not saying it is." She looked down, rubbing her hands together. "I'm scared of losing you. You won't lose me. You don't know that." I searched her face. "Why would you lose me unless you want something more?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pulled a cigarette from her coat pocket, turning it over in her fingers. "I didn't know you smoked," I said. "I don't." She lit it anyway, the flame briefly illuminating her face. "Then why now?" "'Cause I don't know what else to do with my hands." She took a drag, coughed, then laughed quietly at herself. "Pathetic, right? I've seen you do worse." Eyes met mine, steady but uncertain. "You ever think about it?" "About what?" "About us. If things were different?" "Yes." The word left before I could stop it. She held my gaze, and that's why I'm standing here freezing instead of walking away. Her lips curved into something fragile. "I hate how you can make me feel safe and dangerous at the same time. You're not making this easy. I'm not trying to." She flicked the cigarette into the water. "Mark doesn't make me feel this way. It's because you're not supposed to feel this way with me." She stepped closer. "Maybe I am." I shook my head. "No, you're supposed to draw the line. You're supposed to be the one who knows better."
Ow.
Her breath was visible in the cold air, uneven. "You think I don't know that? You think I don't lie awake at night telling myself to stay away from you? Then stay away? I can't." Her voice cracked on the last word, and it hit me harder than it should have. "You have to make a choice, Claire. I'm hoping you'll make it for me." "I can't do that." "You mean you won't?" "Both," she stared at me for a long moment, then reached up slowly, her fingers brushing my cheek. The sound of footsteps echoed along the pier. She froze, her hand still against my face. The rain was hitting my windows hard when I heard the knock. I opened the door to find Claire standing there, hair plastered to her face, coat soaked through. "You're drenched," I said. "No umbrella," she replied, stepping past me. "It wasn't raining when I left." "You could have called." "First, would you have told me not to come?" I hesitated. "Maybe. Then I'm glad I didn't." I grabbed a towel and handed it to her. "You'll get sick." She rubbed her hair, then glanced toward the couch. "You busy?" "No." "Good. Put something on. I'm freezing." I found an old blanket and tossed it over her as she sank onto the couch. I joined her, and she shifted so the blanket covered us both. "Better?" I asked. "Almost." She leaned closer, her shoulder pressing into mine. "You're warm. I'm also not a space heater." "You could be," she said with a faint smile. I turned on the TV, flipping through channels without looking at her. "Anything you want to watch? Something mindless?" We settled on an old movie, though I barely saw any of it. Every time she shifted, her thigh brushed mine. "You're quiet," she said. "I'm watching the movie." Pretending to watch. I'm trying to focus on something other than you shivering against me. Maybe I'm shivering because you won't relax. I exhaled and leaned back. Better? Much. She let her head rest against my shoulder. Her hair was damp, and the scent of rain mixed with her perfume. You always just show up at people's apartments without warning? I asked. Only yours? That's supposed to make me feel special? Supposed to make you wonder? Why? I already know why. Do you? Yes. Tell me. You like making things complicated? She smiled against my shoulder. Maybe I just like being near you. That's not a good enough reason. It is for me. I felt her breath near my neck, warm against the chill from her wet clothes. My hand twitched under the blanket, close to hers. You're going to get me in trouble? I said. With who? You know who? She tilted her head, looking up at me. Mark doesn't have to know I'm here. That's exactly the problem. Maybe it's the solution. Hand shifted slightly under the blanket, brushing my fingers. My pulse jumped. Claire Dan, this is dangerous. So is driving too fast, but it feels good. I turned toward her, close enough to see the droplets still clinging to her lashes. You shouldn't say things like that. Not because I might believe you? Her lips curved. Maybe I want you to. The movie faded into background noise. My hand moved an inch closer under the blanket, hers meeting it halfway. Tell me you haven't thought about it, she whispered. I can't. Her eyes searched mine. Then why are we still pretending? I didn't answer. She leaned in, her gaze dropping to my mouth. You're making it hard to think, I said. Good. Her nose brushed mine. A hand slid fully into hers, fingers locking. The sound of her phone vibrating broke through the moment. She glanced down, the name on the screen lighting her face mark. She didn't move away. Aren't you going to answer? I asked. Should I? Yes. She held my gaze for a second longer, then picked up the phone. She said, voice calm. Yeah, I'm at Dan's. Just watching a movie. Her hands stayed in mine the entire time. Her apartment was glowing with warm light, the low hum of music drifting through the rooms. I stepped inside and was immediately handed a drink. Mark's not here? I asked one of our friends. He's away till Monday, they said. Disappearing into the crowd, I spotted Claire across the living room. She was laughing with two people I barely knew, holding a glass of wine. Her eyes found mine instantly. She excused herself and crossed the room. You made it, she said. Was I supposed to miss it? You usually find reasons. I didn't have one tonight. Good, she said, her smile lingering a fraction too long. Drink? I already have one. She took the glass from my hand. Refill, that wasn't empty. Sapardi, she said, brushing past me toward the kitchen. Finish it. I followed. You're pushy when you host. I'm efficient, she said, pouring. You barely touched the last one. Maybe I'm pacing myself. Maybe you're avoiding me. I'm here, aren't I? She handed the glass back. For now. We moved back into the living room, weaving through the crowd. She didn't leave my side the rest of the night. Every time I turned, she was there. Every time I looked down, my glass was full again. You've been following me? I said around. 10:30? I've been hosting. You're not refilling anyone else's drinks? They didn't need me to? I smirked, and I do. She tilted her head. More than you think. 11:45, the music dipped lower. People began drifting toward the balcony and kitchen, waiting for midnight. I leaned against the wall, watching her talk to someone near the hallway. She glanced over, caught me looking, and made her way to me. Balcony? She asked. Fresh air sounds good. We stepped outside. The city stretched out below, lights shimmering against the dark. Cool air swept through my shirt. Nice view, I said. I wasn't talking about the skyline, she replied. I laughed once. You've been like this all night. Like what? Like you're trying to get caught. Maybe I am? I searched her face. That's not funny. I'm not joking. You're dangerous. You told me that before, she said softly. And yet here you are. She stood close enough that her shoulder brushed mine. The smell of her perfume mingled with the chill in the air. "It's almost midnight," I said. "I know. You should be inside with your friends." "I am with my friend." "That's not what I meant." Her eyes locked on mine. "I can't stop thinking about you." I froze. "Claire, I mean it. Every time I walk into a room, I hope you're there. Every time you're not, I want to leave." "You can't say things like that." "I just did." Her fingers grazed my wrist. The sound of people inside counting down reached us faintly. "Don't," I said, though my voice lacked conviction. "Why not?" "Because you're with him." She leaned closer. "That's not stopping me right now." 10 voices inside shouted. I could feel her breath against my cheek. 9. "You're going to regret this," I whispered. 8. She said. 7. "You don't know that." 6. "I do." 5. Her hand slid up my arm. 4. "I've wanted this for so long," she murmured. 3. The world outside narrowed to the space between us. 2. My heart was pounding. 1. Her lips touched mine, soft and deliberate. The distant sound of fireworks exploded behind the glass, but they were nothing compared to the rush in my chest. I kissed her back without thinking, pulling her closer under the cold night air. The sliding door behind us opened. We broke just enough to look. Someone stood there, frozen, eyes wide. The cold air was still clinging to me when Sophie's voice cut through the noise from inside. "I need to talk to you." Claire stepped forward. "Sophie, wait." Sophie didn't even look at her now. I glanced at Claire. She mouthed, "Don't." But Sophie was already walking toward the hallway. I followed. We stopped near the coat rack. "You think I didn't?" "See that?" she asked. "I don't know what you saw." "I saw enough. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think." Claire appeared behind me. "Sophie, please." Sophie turned. "Do you know what this will do to Mark?" "Claire's?" The voice was steady. It was a mistake. Sophie's eyes narrowed. "Was it?" Claire didn't answer. Sophie looked at me. "I should tell him then. Why haven't you?" I asked. She hesitated. "Because I'm not sure who I'm angrier at." Claire stepped beside me. "You won't say anything." Sophie's mouth tightened. "You don't get to tell me what I will or won't do." "Please," Claire said quietly. "Not tonight." Sophie looked between us, then walked away without another word. I turned to Claire. "That's not good. She won't say anything. You sound sure." "Know her, she's your best friend. She might feel like she's protecting you. She's not the one I need protection from." "Claire," she leaned in. "We'll talk later." The rest of the night blurred. People left. The lights dimmed, avoided Sophie's eyes. When I finally stepped outside, the city felt heavier. The next morning, my phone buzzed. "Claire, you." Up. I stared at the screen. "Me. We shouldn't." "Claire, I can't stop thinking about you. Me. Last night was a mistake. Your words, not mine." "Claire, and yet you kissed me back." I didn't reply. 2 hours later, another message lit up. "Claire, coffee." "Just to talk." I ignored it. By the evening, she called. "You can't just disappear," she said. "I'm trying." "To make this easier?" "For who?" "For both of us." "It doesn't feel easier." "It's supposed to." "You want me to stop?" "Yes." Liar. "Claire, I'll see you tomorrow." She hung up. Over the next 3 days, she kept finding reasons to be around me, dropping something off for a mutual friend, asking about a work thing. Standing too close when no one was watching, Mark came back that Friday. I saw him at a bar with a group. He waved like nothing was wrong. "How was the trip?" I asked. "Long. I missed home. Good to be back then." He smiled. "You have no idea." The guilt hit me hard. I could barely stand still. That night, lying in bed, I kept seeing her on the balcony. The way she said my name. The way she didn't hesitate. Saturday afternoon. "Sophie found me outside a cafe. You've been avoiding me," she said, not intentionally. "Don't lie. You're avoiding me because you know I'm right." "I don't know what you think you're right about. She's going to ruin you both." I looked at her. "You think I don't know that?" Stop. Not that simple. It's exactly that simple. She's the one who keeps. Don't blame her. You're just as involved. I didn't respond. Sophie's tone softened. If Mark finds out, he won't just hate her. He'll hate you. Aware? Then end it. Tonight, I took a breath. I'll try. No, not try. Do it. She turned and walked away. By Monday, Claire was calling again. Dinner, she asked. No, you sound certain. I am. You're lying again. Claire, I'm not ready to let this go. You need to be. What if I'm not? Then you'll destroy everything. There was a pause. You kissed me back. I closed my eyes. Stop saying that. It's the truth. The phone went silent for a moment before she spoke. Again, Mark wants to see you. My stomach tightened. Why? He said he's missed hanging out. I don't think that's a good idea. He already sent you the invite. I checked my phone. A new message from Mark was there. Mark, dinner at ours tomorrow, you, me, Claire. Feels like forever since we caught up. Claire's voice came back through the line. What are you going to do? I didn't answer. Mark opened the door with a wide smile. About time you showed up, said. I had to fight traffic, I replied. Claire appeared behind him. You made it. Her voice was warm, but her eyes stayed low. Inside, the table was set like a magazine spread. Sophie was already seated, sipping wine. Evening, she said. I sat opposite her. She didn't blink. Mark poured me a drink. We need more nights like this, I said, though my throat felt tight. Claire placed the bread basket down without looking at me. Mark dug in. So how's work been treating you? Busy, I said. Yours same, but I like busy. Sophie leaned forward. Some people like temptation more than busy. Mark laughed lightly. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, Sophie said, smiling faintly. Claire shifted in her seat. Can we pass the salad? Mark passed it without breaking eye contact with Sophie. You've got that look again. I'm just observing, Sophie said. Observing what? Mark asked. People. Claire cleared her throat. You're staring at me. Sophie shrugged. You're worth staring at. Mark chuckled. That's true. Claire gave a quick smile, then stared at her plate. Mark turned to me. So, any resolutions this year? Not really. Sophie tilted her head. I think some people should make one. Mark grinned. Like what? Stay away from things that aren't theirs. Sophie said. Claire froze. Mark looked at her. You all right? She coughed into her napkin. Wrong pipe? Sophie didn't look away from me. Maybe it's the wine. Mark's eyes moved between us. Something I'm missing? No, Claire said quickly. Doesn't seem like nothing, Mark replied. It's nothing, I said. Sophie smirked. If you say so. Claire shot her a sharp look. Mark leaned back. Feels like there's a private joke going on. There isn't, Claire said. Mark didn't look convinced. Funny. I thought I saw something at the New Year's party. Sophie's eyebrow lifted. Did you? Just a glance, Mark said. Probably nothing. Claire gripped her glass. It was nothing. Mark nodded slowly, but his eyes stayed on me. So you were both outside at the same time by coincidence? Claire answered quickly. Yes. Sophie reached for the wine bottle. Coincidences happen every day. Mark's tone shifted. Not like that one. I shifted in my seat. What's this about? Mark smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes, just making conversation. Sophie took a sip. You've got a strange definition of conversation. Mark glanced at her. And you've got a strange way of protecting your friends. Claire's fork clinked against her plate. Can we drop this? Mark's voice was calm. Why? It's interesting. It's not, Claire said sharply. Mark looked at her for a long moment. If you say so. Sophie set down her glass. I think you already know. Mark turned his gaze on me. Do I? Claire's voice was barely above a whisper. Please, stop. Mark kept looking at me. Maybe you should tell me. My pulse pounded in my ears. There's nothing to tell. He leaned forward slightly. You sure? Claire shook her head quickly, almost imperceptibly. Mark noticed. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, Claire said. Mark's eyes narrowed. You think I can't see you? Mark, please, Claire said again. Sophie looked between us. This is uncomfortable. Mark's voice sharpened. Good, maybe it should be. Claire's hand trembled as she reached for her drink. You're reading too much into this. Mark stared at her. Am I? Yes, she said firmly. He turned to me. What about you? Am I? I took a slow breath. Yes. Mark held my gaze for several seconds. I don't think I am. Claire reached across the table toward him. You're making something out of nothing. Mark didn't touch her hand. That's not what it feels like. Sophie set her napkin down. I should go. No, Mark said. Stay. Claire's voice cracked slightly. Why? Because I want to hear what else she has to say, Mark replied. Sophie didn't look at me. Nothing you don't already suspect. Mark looked back at me. Suspect is a weak word. Claire's eyes pleaded with me silently. Mark noticed again. There it is. That look. There's no look, Claire said quickly. Mark's tone was quieter now. There's definitely a look. I felt my chest tighten. Mark, let's not do this here. Where should we do it? He asked. Claire's voice was sharp. You're making a scene. Mark smiled faintly. Funny, I think the scene started before dinner. Sophie stood up. I'm leaving. Mark waved her off. Go ahead. She walked out without another word. The room felt smaller without her. Claire stared at her plate. I stared at my glass. Mark set his fork down. Tell me the truth. There's nothing to tell, I said again. He didn't blink. Funny, I think I already know. He put his glass down. Asterisk Mark stood in the kitchen, arms folded, eyes fixed on me. I know, he said. My throat dried. Know what? Dat, you've been with her? He replied calmly. Claire stepped forward. Mark, please. He glanced at her. Don't. I've been patient. I've watched. I've listened. You're wrong, I said. Mark shook his head. I have photos. I have Sophie's words. I have enough. Claire's voice cracked. She's lying. Sophie doesn't lie about this, Mark said. She hates me, Claire snapped. She saw you, Mark replied. Assured you. I swallowed. You don't have to do this. He stepped closer. You think I'm going to yell? You think I'm going to fight? No, I'm done. Claire reached for him. We can fix this. He pulled away. No, you broke it. Try it again. Mark, he cut me off. You're nothing to me now. Claire's face twisted. After everything? Exactly after everything, he said. You don't mean that, she whispered. I do, he replied, walking to the door. I stepped forward. Mark, he didn't turn around. Goodbye. The door shut. Claire turned to me, eyes wet. Say something. Couldn't. She pressed her palms to her face. He's gone. I leaned against the counter. You knew this could happen? Her voice trembled. I didn't think it would. He warned you? I said quietly. She dropped her hands. Do you hate me now? I shook my head. It's not that simple. Then what is it? She asked. I don't know yet, I admitted. She took a step toward me. We can still see each other. I met her eyes. You think that's a good idea? I need you, she said. I exhaled slowly. You need someone who won't destroy you. Her lips pressed tight. You think I destroyed you? I didn't answer. She reached for my hand. Please. I pulled back. Not now. Her voice broke. I can't lose you too. You already have, I said. She stared at me for a long moment. Will you at least talk to me tomorrow? We'll see, I said. She left without another word. The next day, my phone rang before noon. Please pick up. Her voice pleaded on the voicemail. I didn't. By evening, there were 5 missed calls. At night, she tried again. I just want to know if we can still be friends. I sat on the edge of my bed, listening to her sob through the speaker. I miss your voice, she whispered. I miss how you look at me. I closed my eyes. Do you remember the first time you touched me? She asked softly. You said my skin felt like it was burning. It still does, Daniel. Even now, her breathing shook. Please, just tell me you don't hate me. My hand hovered over the phone. I'll wait, she said, even if you never call. I hung up. Weeks passed. I heard through mutual friends that she was seeing someone new. He's sweet, they said. I knew she was repeating the cycle. One night, Sophie called me. Did you know she's already moved on? She asked. Yeah, I said. She'll do to him what she did to you, Sophie said. Not my problem, I replied. You still care? She accused. Doesn't matter, I said. Maybe you should tell him, she offered. No, I said firmly. Why not? 'Cause he wouldn't believe me, I replied. Sophie sighed. Then you'll watch it happen again. I know, I said. She was silent for a moment. You deserve better. Maybe, I said, but that's not the point. What is the point? She asked. That I'm done, I said. She let out a breath. Good. The night of my birthday arrived. I stayed in. No party. No guests. Just the sound of the clock ticking in my apartment at 11:57. My phone buzzed. It was her name on the screen. I stared at it. It kept ringing. I set it face down on the table. At midnight, the ringing stopped. The clock struck 12. I poured myself a drink and sat in silence. Her name lit up again. This time, put it on speaker. Happy birthday, she said, her voice low, almost shy. I bought you something. Could drop it off. Just 5 minutes, I promise. I swallowed hard. I miss your hands, she whispered. I miss the way you used to look at me like I was the only thing in the room. Her words pulled at me like a hook under my ribs. All I had to do was say yes. I didn't. The sound of her breathing filled the line. Then she said, You still want me. I can hear it. I ended the call. The clock ticked on. I stayed still. I thought about the first time she kissed me, how it felt like a spark in the dark, and how it cost me everything. The clock struck 12-0-1. I didn't answer again.